Um, should we start before we get to the WrestleMania match? How did the League of Nations start? Should we do that? Because I know there was I
Yeah,
had a set up a special website just for you, not website, but a special channel that people could ask questions. And
yeah,
one of the most popular questions was the League of Nations situation because I feel like everybody saw what the League of Nations did, saw the potential, and I feel like everybody expected a lot more than what we've actually accomplished. So let's talk about
yeah.
how, because you have a better memory than me, and I can chime in as well, about how the League of Nations started.
So what happened was, I had just beaten Roman for the world title. I cashed in the Money in the Bank, and we knew this was on a Sunday Survivor Series. I didn't even know what was going to cash in until that night. Um, and then uh, the next night at Raw, or day at Raw, they told us we're putting this group together, League of Nations. By the way, this whole idea came from Jamie Noble. I remember Jamie
Yes.
Noble telling me at one stage,
Yes.
like, I got this idea.
Yeah.
Hey, it's League of Nations. I was thinking, okay, I was like, how's this going to work? And what's the idea? There was no idea behind it. There's no plan behind it. And then they just, on Raw, they put four of us together. Like, and
But
people
you
will
know
talk about
why?
break
But what kind of people? They put four foreigners. There was an exact plan.
four
Hey, we
foreigners.
have four
Yeah.
foreigners. Let's put them together. It's a great idea.
Even though all four of us individually were doing pretty good and pretty successful and holding our own weight in the company. So you had four strong heels that were put together to make a really weak faction called League of Nations. And here's the problem: like people talk about, the Shield being this dominant and all these other groups being dominant. The thing is, like, we could easily be a hugely successful group, very, very dominant. But on our first match together, which was SmackDown after, so we debuted on Raw, and we beat up Roman, and then on SmackDown, we basically lost a 4-on-1 match to Roman
The
on
very next
SmackDown
day.
the very next day.
So the
I was
first
like,
day we came out, I don't even know if we had music left. We came out, and once again, you have Sheamus, who is a champion, who is a fresh champion. You have Barrett, who is a
Del
former.
Rio, Del Rio was champion too. Del Rio was
He was
U.S.
a
champion.
U.S. champion. Yeah, he beat Cena a little bit before that, wasn't he? Didn't he? He beat
Yeah,
Cena
yeah,
for
yeah.
that title.
He beat Cena at the pay per view before. Did he beat Cena at the same pay per view? No, no, no.
He
He
beat
beat.
Cena at Staples Center, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, so yeah, he beat him at the one before Survivor Series. So he was like U.S. champ only about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So
So you have Del Rio, you have U.S. champion, you have Barrett, who is a
King of the
fantastic
Ring,
king in the
and
ring,
also King of the Ring.
king in the ring, former IC title, and a great overall talent, great worker, great speaker, everything. And you have me, which is,
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is.
U.S. former U.S. champ,
Former U.S.
owner
champion,
owner of a tank at WrestleMania. What
owner of
owner
a
of a tank at
tank,
WrestleMania? You know what I mean? Like so,
owner
full
of a shit,
star studded,
all of that,
star studded,
all of
all
that.
of that.
And when they pitched this idea, we legitimately thought we have a shot, right?
Yeah,
Because we thought, oh wow, look at us, we can
mm,
freaking dominate this, and
yeah,
um, and then the first day happens, and then the next day we have a
no,
legitimately
yeah,
match, four
4-on-1.
versus one match,
Yeah,
and Roman end up beating us via disqualification, no, count out or disqualification, whatever it was.
yeah,
And that's why we knew. I think it was right then and there that we knew. I think it
yeah.
took us 2 days to find out. Wow.
We are not going to do good with this group.
We're
And
not
it was
going to do good with this one.
no, yeah, it's like you look at the Wyatt, like you had the Wyatt family, and you had like the Shield and everything. There's no reason why we couldn't have been just as dominant as those groups. I mean, people go, they're most dominant. Yeah, of course they're the most dominant. That's because that's the way they're booked. But we weren't booked that way. We were literally booked to build Roman as the top
Right.
baby
So when
face in the
when it
company.
all comes down to it, we were created for one purpose, and
Yeah,
that's to build Roman, which
and I
he
don't
really
like it's
needed.
just
And again, that's nothing. Whatever we're saying, it's nothing to do against Roman because we both love Roman. We
Yeah,
both
totally.
love working with Roman. He's so talented. He deserves everything, right? But at the same time,
Cool dude as well, man.
oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
a lot easy to work, like so easy to work. Fans love him, but yeah, but at the same time, like they didn't need four people, four top heels to go in there into that group and do that. They could have had like at least they could have had two. You know what I mean? They could have had three, whatever. But
Right.
yeah, and then that's when, and then we all just when it started imploding, we all like everybody in the group just like started losing their minds. It's just like we butting heads against everybody, and it just turned into a complete disaster. At the end, but I think by the end, everyone, all of us were kind of like, "Man, I'm glad that's over."
You're glad that's over.
You
So,
have just
so we go
subscribed,
from
and I feel right.
working with Roman.
Welcome to the Handsome
Um,
Chatters.
then eventually he won back the title, right? That's what
Yeah,
happens. And then we move on to the New Day.
yeah,
And then interesting things starts to happen. And again, we love New Day. We love working with New Day. They're so creative. They're fantastic. Um, but once again, I feel like at this point, it's not that we were done. We were like, why is nobody taking us seriously?
yeah,
We're four dudes that we can annihilate together. We can annihilate anybody there. But at the same time, they're putting these promos and we're supposed to sit down and listen. They're disrespecting us and we can't do anything. And that's why when all four of us, we got too fed up with it, way too fed up. And and then we got in trouble because we were not selling when they were insulting us. And we're like, what are we supposed to sell? Like they're insulting us like we're little kids, but we're grown ass men. That if there are three of them and it's four of us, and if we slide in their ring, we're gonna destroy every single thing living there. But we couldn't do that, and our hands were tied, and that's why I feel like, all right, if they're gonna tie our hands, then we're just gonna act like we don't care. So that's what we did. We were making fun. They were making fun of us. We didn't joke. We were throwing some trash. I started washing my underpits because they told me I smell. I started washing my underpits with water because that's what they turn it into. They turn it into a joke. And I said, if
yeah.
you're gonna turn into a joke, then we're gonna joke with you. But at the same time, we got in trouble for that. At least I did. I don't know about you guys, but
No, everybody did, and again, it just goes back to like what the purpose of that group at that stage was. Then was just to Vince and everybody there just saw that the New Day was going to be a top babyface team because they're the stuff they're doing as heels being considered like very entertaining and everything. So again, that was the idea was like we got to Roman. Roman had like set Roman up as that for his thing with Hunter going into Mania, and then our next thing to do was to heat up New Day and get them put them in a good position as baby faces, and that's what it was. That was the whole idea of the League of Nations. There was never an idea of like, oh, we'll build this amazing kick-ass team like the Four Horsemen or any of
You have just
those groups you can think
subscribed,
of, or
and I
DX or
feel
any of those
right.
stuff. Like it
Welcome to
was
the
there to
Handsome
create baby
Chatters.
faces, and that there was never really a plan behind that. So it's funny when I hear fans talk to me about the new League of
You
Nations,
have
like
just
they look
subscribed,
back at it
and I
so
feel
fondly. I'm
right.
like, I'm trying to
Welcome to
think
the Handsome
when did that happen.
Chatters.
but uh, but yeah, it was an interesting time.
it
It
was
was an
very interesting
interesting
time.
time.
And so
And I
there it
think
goes.
if we had had a tank, it would have been grand. If you had let brought your tank into the arena, imagine we all came out of the tank. That would have been great.
Well, that's my fault. The tank was already taken.
It was going to use the
The tank
tank.
was gone. I ruined the tank. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's totally my fault. But so from there we get a WrestleMania match, which is WrestleMania 32, I believe, in Dallas, Texas, the biggest, the most what is it, 110,000 people or what, or something like that,
I
I
think it was
believe.
pretty high. It's, yeah, over 100,000, I think.
Right, um, and there it is. We have a match. We have a match, 3 on 3. We had to put somebody on the outside because
Yeah,
it was 3 on 3 match. And I think it was Stu because we knew that Stu was leaving. I think.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it was Stu knew he was leaving. Everybody knew that he was leaving, and I think that they just left him on the outside, which I don't think he had any problem with that, just because he knew the situation.
That's the. I think Stu was just yeah, he pretty much done. He wasn't going to resign, and it was like the 3-on-3 thing. So yeah, we did that match. It was not a good match. Uh, I just and then we had like I guess the day off we heard that they had Austin come in, Austin Michaels and Foley, and
Right.
it's people do you take a do you what you take sweet chin music or do you take a stunner?
No, so this is also not a funny thing. So once we decided, once we figured out that, because we didn't even know from the beginning that, these guys are coming, and we talked about the match. We had a few meetings about the match that did not go well for one reason or another. And then we get to the arena and to the stadium. We find out that these guys are coming at the end.
Mm.
And then we started picking who's going to take what.
I volunteered for Foley straight away.
I
You know, I
volunteered
was
for
like,
the
well,
stunner right away because I always wanted to take a stunner because I knew that I can take it good. And yes, they gave me the stunner. I think Stu was the worst because he ended up taking
everything.
everything, and he ate the sock after you ate the sock. So you technically kind of, made up or made out, whatever is the name, whatever is the right word.
No, I just told Foley, I said, bro, just him use hard you can in the corner when you know that he uses those rapid punches.
Right.
But Foley, but it's funny, like I kind of feel like me and Foley kind of bonded that day because when me and Cesaro started the tag team, it was Foley who basically went to bat for me and Cesaro to set up the bar, the tag team. It was kind of a storyline too because he was general manager, but behind the scenes too, he went to bat for me and Cesaro as well. He was hugely like influential behind
Wow, I
the
didn't
tag
know
team.
that.
Yeah, totally. And we talked about that moment when he came out of Mania and he he put a sock in his hand and shoved it down my throat. So it was pretty funny. But
Very interesting.
yeah, yeah. You know what? It wasn't the funnest Mania. It was kind of stressful to be honest with you. But I think either way, our friendship kind of blossomed after it. So I think that was the plus factor at WrestleMania 32. But I always seem to be end up in these tag team matches at WrestleMania. I'm just coming back. It's like I don't even remember the last time I had a singles